Hello and welcome. This is Groovy Gift Giving. My name is Theodore. For this video, I'm going to be addressing the topic of being thoughtful and unique in our gift giving. Now, I mentioned in my video on the topic of avoiding cliche gifts that this video would be sort of the opposite of that video. So I think it's important for us to understand what types of gifts are cliches. Now, cliche gifts, just briefly, are gifts that might have been unique, interesting, and fun at some point, but have now been overdone so much that they've become a cliche. So I think it's important for us to understand what types of gifts are cliches. But once we do understand what types of gifts are cliches, that's when we can start looking for what types of gifts are thoughtful, unique, interesting. Now, you are the one who will have to do the listening, the paying attention, the understanding of the individuals whom you are wanting to give gifts to. That's not something I can do for you, but I can give you advice on what will, I guess, put you in the right direction toward finding good, unique, and thoughtful gifts for the people in your life. I'm going to provide quite a few examples of gifts I've received, gifts I've given, that I think are good ones to maybe get you thinking about what types of gifts to give in your life that would be thoughtful and unique. Consider a gift that's centered around a key moment or key era in someone's life. Now, I mentioned this in my last video, the video on the topic of gifts not having to be expensive, that getting something that maybe commemorates someone's first concert might be a good gift. I think most people have a good story from their first concert, and it seems like a very important moment for a lot of people. So I think finding out when someone's first concert was, and then maybe looking for something from that concert, perhaps a t-shirt from that, or from the concert, or from the tour. Or if you can't find the t-shirt or a poster or anything specifically from that, or maybe it's too expensive, you can maybe look to see if you can find some artwork from that concert or that tour, a poster of some sort, and having that made into a t-shirt, or having it printed into a poster and framed nicely. That might be a good idea. Of course, there are other key moments and key eras of people's lives other than concerts that we can consider finding fun gifts for. So this is where you have to really talk to the people you know and whom you want to buy a gift for, and understand what are some key eras and key moments from their life that you can find gifts for. Also think about childhood interests or toys, things like that, and see what you can track down from their lives, something that commemorates those. These seem to be very important things for people, even well into adulthood, the things that were important to them early in life. Next, consider something that signifies something important about your relationship. Now, I have a cool example here. This is something for my wife, her birthday was in August, and I got her quite a number of gifts for her birthday. But one thing I got her that I thought was really fun and worth showing here is this pillow. Now, this pillow, what it is a text message that she and I exchanged a few months ago. And it's not something that's in any way all that important to our relationship, but it does signify something that we do. And that is, we send lots and lots of text messages to one another. And when we do this, we're always trying to be funny and make one another laugh. And we do actually have some really good conversations through text messages. Normally, when we have these conversations through text message, we just let them tumble down and then they're just kind of forgot forever. Even if they stay on our phone, it's not something we go back and really go through. So they're just sort of lost. They're meant to be temporary, and that's fine. But the reason why I thought this would be a fun gift is to take something that I think is an important and interesting part of our life, and that's the way that we talk to one another and joke with one another through text. And I took something meant to be temporary and I made it permanent. And she very much likes pillows, and that's kind of a running gag in our marriage. Is she loves pillows. She loves having hundreds of pillows. That's an exaggeration, but lots and lots of pillows on the bed, on couches and everything. She just likes having lots of pillows. I am not anti-pillow, but it's not a thing for me to have a lot of pillows around. But that is something for her. So I thought that was also an interesting thing, because I thought about doing a t-shirt, but I thought a pillow would actually be better. So I think that that's a tactic there of finding something that's that signifies it's something important from your relationship and working with that for a unique gift. But also, I think this works to another tactic you might work with is taking something meant to be temporary and making it permanent, something that we can commemorate forever. And I think that this is a really interesting tactic I would recommend using for unique and thoughtful gift giving. Now, I think that if we were to have started our relationship with a text message, maybe if that would have been possible at the time, maybe this would even be something to do that would even be more significant for us. If, say, like the first time I'd ever asked her out was through a text message and I'd kept that file and then turned that into a pillow or something, that might even have been more significant. Looking for something like that would be really cool and interesting. And that's not what I have here. What I have is actually just one conversation that just made both of us laugh, and even after we'd seen one another after having the text message, we laughed about this conversation, and I again wanted to preserve it. But again, something like an even more important or key moment in a relationship that happens through means of an email or a text or something, having that commemorated with something permanent might even be more meaningful than the one that I made for her birthday this year. So hopefully this is giving you some good food for thought for how the type of thinking that you need to use for thoughtful and unique gifts in your life. My next tip for this would be finding something uniquely helpful for someone. Now, I have a good example for this too that's quite a bit different, and this goes way back, and it's a long story. I'm going to try to be concise here. I'll try my best here. But something early on in my wife and I's relationship, when I had finished grad school, we had to do, like, it was not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years, where we had to live, we had to do a long distance thing for almost 2 years. And that's a very tough thing to do. Anybody who's ever done that before knows that's very, very difficult. And when we knew we were going to have to be apart for a while, we both, when I was leaving, we got one another gifts, and we ended up getting each other really inexpensive gifts. But it wasn't necessarily that being a theme. It's just we didn't have any money to do anything expensive whatsoever. We had to really do something cheap. But we both did something that, different types of gifts that I think were really, really, really good. And I'm going to talk about both of them here. But the one that she got me is the one that I'm saying was uniquely helpful for someone, for me. And that was, she wrote me a cookbook. She loves cooking. It's a passion for her. She loves cooking. She loves baking. She loves even going on Pinterest or whatever and finding new recipes and all of that. That's a passion for her that she really, really enjoys doing. It's not so much for me. I do cook. It's not something I shirk off onto to her entirely, but it is something that's she's passionate about, but I'm not. So what she did was she gathered together all of the recipes that of all the items that she knew I liked, all the things that she cooked that I liked, and she gave me those recipes in the form of a cookbook. And she just not only gave the recipes, but she gave all kinds of little tips and like made it really personable and fun. And then it was something not only that was very sweet and good, and she was very clever in the presentation as well, but it was also something I used for that entire time period. I used that for reference all the time. It was very, very helpful for me. It was one of the greatest gifts anyone could have given me at that time period. It was perfect. So anyway, that's what I mean. An example of what I mean by something that's uniquely helpful for someone, at least during a time in their life. And the next tip, though, is getting something that demonstrates how much you miss someone or how much you will miss someone. Now, what I got her in this moment was a calendar. Now, it was just a random calendar that I think I found at Walmart. And she was coming to visit me I believe I was leaving in December. She was coming to visit in March. So what I did is I bought the calendar, and let's say, I don't remember the date exactly, but let's say she was coming on March 17th, on St. Patrick's Day. Let's say that's when she was coming. And I ripped out every month after March, and then I even cut out the dates leading up to the day that she was leaving to come see me. And then on each of those dates, I came up with something that she can do to occupy the time waiting while she was waiting to come visit me. And it was goofy things. No, this was not useful at all. It was just trying to be funny and clever. I know I said like she could give her dog a perm, or like all these goofy things that she could do, and I can't remember most of them. I'll have to look it up. I know she still has it somewhere. But yeah, it was a I thought a very sweet gesture of like, I'm going to miss you, you're going to miss me, but here's a way that you can cope until the day that you come visit me. So it was actually a very good, very, very appreciated gift, I believe. And again, it was something that sort of demonstrated how much I'm going to miss her, how much you're going to miss me. I think that this type of gift, thinking along these lines, might be a really good, not just for people you miss, yes, of course, people you miss in your life, or people you're going to miss if they're moving away or something, but I mean, there are people for me personally that I used to see on a daily basis before the pandemic that I still haven't seen. And so this is, I think something like that in this era might be really, really good, considering a good thing to consider about how you miss people and how much you look forward to seeing them again. So thinking along these lines would be a really good, this could be a really good way to think for a unique and thoughtful gift for people right now. Now, my last tip here is to get something that uniquely shows that you believe in them. Now, this is something that I think is very, very meaningful and just not only just sweet, but just really meaningful and good gifts can be done in this along these lines. Two examples I have of this that aren't actually my gifts at all, or they're the ones that were given to my wife when she was in the middle of her working for her doctorate. And it was anybody who's ever gone for a doctorate or been around anyone who's going for a doctorate knows that it's an extremely difficult process, not just mentally, but emotionally, and there's a lot that goes into it that's really rough. And she received, I'm aware of two gifts that she got that were really meaningful to her during this time period, that showed that people who loved her believed in her and believed that she could do this. One was from her mother, and it was a picture frame, or I guess I'm not sure how to describe it other than it's a frame, but for several photos. And her mother had included a photo from, I think it was a junior high graduation. I didn't have one of those, but I guess my wife did. Junior high graduation, and then a photo from her high school graduation, then a photo of her from undergrad, and then a photo for her master's, and then had left one blank for her doctorate. And it was, again, a very sweet gesture of like, hey, when you completed all this, here's something that you can make use of. And it was not only cool and interesting, but it was looking to the future in a good way. And she has it in her office, and it's something she treasures. Along the same lines, her brother got her this really cool name plate for her desk that said her name and then doctor in front of it. And he got this for her, I think, 2 years before she completed her doctorate. And so that's something she now has on her desk, but it was something that for a few years it was, I believe in you, and this is something for you to use in the future once you've achieved this thing, and I believe in you, and I believe that you're going to achieve it. So it was a very sweet gesture that meant a lot to her, both of these. But I think this is just a good tactic for people, is to show that you believe in them, and then finding a gift that really demonstrates that you do believe in them is a really, really good tactic for a unique and thoughtful gift. So those are just a handful of ideas for you to consider when you're thinking about thoughtful and unique gifts in your life. That is it for this video. In my next video, I will discuss the topic of why genuine surprises are the best, which will be number 9 on my list of 10 tips for next level gift giving. If you like this video, please like or subscribe, and I'll see you in an upcoming video. Thank you.